Now I give the floor to the distinguished representative of the Russian Federation. You have the floor, Ambassador.
Благодарю вас. Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I want to remind my distinguished French colleague that there's no such thing as a Russian-Ukrainian conflict. There is an internal Ukrainian conflict. And there's a crisis in the relations between Ukraine and Russia, which was created by the former Ukrainian leadership. In the context in which you recalled the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, it does not exist. And if you continue to repeat it, I will continue to remind you of that. Secondly, the law in which we are discussing was approved on the 15th of May, not the 25th of April. On the 25th of April, the law was enacted by the Verkhovna Rada. The Russian Federation requested the holding of this meeting in connection with the signature on the 15th of May by the outgoing President Poroshenko of the law on ensuring the status of the Ukrainian language as a state language. The law indeed does enter into force only in the middle of July, and certain of its provisions will start being entered into force in just several years from now. However, that does not negate its essence, which this is why we believe that the Security Council already today states its clear position on this law, because we believe it clearly violates the spirit and letter of the Minsk Agreement, which the Security Council approved through its resolution 2202 of 2015, as well as by the presidential statement of June of 2018. So we're talking about a violation of decisions by the Security Council. Some may think that a violation of the language provisions of the Minsk Agreement are less significant against the background of daily shelling of the peaceful citizens of Donbas and Lugansk, and against the backdrop of attempts by the Ukrainian authorities to undermine the situation. However, the importance of this decision goes far beyond the framework of this law. I just want to recall that the right to use your language is enshrined in the agreement, and if we look at it more carefully, the language issue was precisely what triggered the centripetal forces in 2014. As we know, one of the first decisions of the Maidan authorities was to decide against the official status of the Russian language. It is precisely after that decision that in the eastern parts of the Ukraine, the views of local citizens led to the current situation. So the issue of the language, status of the Russian language, is one of the original reasons, one of the root reasons of the current conflict. We believe that it's essential to send a signal to the new Ukrainian authorities to adopt a policy towards unity. It is the unity of society that is the best guarantee for cohesion. This is precisely a signal that was made today during his inauguration, the newly elected president of the Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky. However, not all agree with that, and attempts by nationalists to push out the Russian language continue. We hope that Madam Undersecretary Rosemary DiCarlo and Lamberto Zanier of the OSCE will give an objective assessment of the current swan song by Poroshenko. We know that not all delegations at this table are particularly keen on holding today's meeting. I just want to recall that a month ago, when there was a proposal to discuss a signature by the president of Russia, Putin, signature of a decree giving the citizens of Donbas and Lugansk Russian citizenship, the Russian delegation did not object, and this had nothing to do with any of the obligations under the Minsk Agreement. We are convinced that each member of the Security Council is entitled to put forward for discussion in the Security Council any issue which, according to their views, can be a threat to international peace and security. So a rejection to hold today's meeting would not be only a clear application of double standards, but would undermine the authority of the Security Council. Thank you very much.
I thank the distinguished representative of the Russian Federation.